Hello, hello, and good early evening. My name is Deanne Battle, and this is the Composite. And ta-da! We are back. Yes, I'm still alive. We're in season 4 still, and this is episode 18. So we'll do one more episode and close out. I can be a little superstitious about things, so the first season was 19 episodes, so every subsequent season has been 19 episodes. This has been a long time coming, though. I'm a teacher. Back up a step. See, I'm rusty. So what is the Composite? The Composite is kind of this vlog podcast situation where we chat. And I am an English teacher by trade, and I talk shit on the internet. So this is my little hub where I do that and make that happen. So thank you for joining us. If this is your first time seeing this broadcast, and if you're returning, thanks for coming back. Usually what happens is if I do get hits on this stuff, it's usually on the replays. So I'll, keep my fingers crossed and stay hopeful. But usually any traction that we get is on the replay, which we're very grateful for as we continue to develop this platform. So what's been going on? A lot of stuff, not all of it good, but I think I'm processing things differently, and I'll get to that as well. But what I want to do today, folks, is I'm looking down because I'm looking at my iPad. I want to start with poetry. So usually every episode, I generally tend to close with poetry just because I'm interested in storytelling. I'm interested in language. And beautiful language is soothing. So a lot of the times when I'm on here and we're discussing current events and things like that, especially I'd say in the last few years, it's unpleasant. You could argue it's never been pleasant, but it's been especially unpleasant as of late. And I feel like, beautiful language can help soothe, hopefully. Sorry, just distracted. I'm on my patio, and sometimes, if I'm talking like this and someone walks by, they're like, whew. It's like, no, I'm not well, I technically am talking to myself, but there's a reason. I'm not that crazy, I promise. But anyway, right, language has the power to soothe, and I try to share that here. But rather than do the poems at the end, I want to do them at the beginning, again, just because I feel like I'm a little rusty. I don't even know, when's the last time that I've done a broadcast? I think it's been a month, unfortunately, which just feels so weird because I had gotten into such a rhythm of doing the show. But all of that being said, sorry, my face is itching. No need to dwell on that. Let's get into some poems, all right? Now, if you have seen more than one broadcast, you're more than aware that we often see resonance, right, between, the poems that I read and the topics that, I put out here for us to discuss. So we'll see if that happens today. All right. So I just pull up the poems of the day from the Poetry Foundation and poetry.org. So let's see what's popping. What's good? Ooh. I already like the titles, again, because of the combination of the words. I'll tell you about that in a sec. And then today, what's the poem? Okay, so on poets.org, we have Habilitas by Rodrigo Toscano. And then the one that I was looking at the title, it's Deep Water Troweling, which is cool to say, by Jorie. Ooh, and that's a longer one too. Okay, so these are going to be longer ones. I'll try to do them justice as a place to start. And then after that, I'd like to do some story time, a couple of stories of things that I've taken note of in the last, I'd say, week or so. And then I want to talk about a couple of articles that unfortunately I have not had a chance to read yet, but that I want to link in the comments. And as I go through them and as I have a chance to read, hopefully that can begin a conversation. That's really the purpose of this, is to talk to people, connect with people, we're on these doohickeys, these devices so frequently. And, I have to be honest, it's more out of habit, right, than really seeing them as things that enhance my life at this point. So, one thing that could enhance my life really at this moment, if I'm being honest, is a greater sense of connection, a greater sense of community. So I'm going to use this damn phone to try to make that happen. So indulge me, if you will. Okay, so from the Poetry Foundation, our first poem is Deep Water Troweling by Jorie Graham. So let me just pick this up here so I can see it. Deep water troweling. The blades like irises turning very fast to see you completely. Steel blue, then red where the cut occurs, the cut of you. They don't want to know you, they want to own you. No, not own. We all mean to live to the end. Am I human? We don't know that. Just because I have this way of transmitting, call it voice, a threat, communal actually, the pelagic midwater nets, like walls closing around us, starting in the far distance where they just look to us like distance coming closer. Hear it, eliminating background is all foreground, you in it, the only ground, not even punishment, trolling nets by catch, poison ghost fishing, the coil of the listening along the very bottom, the nets weighed down with... Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a second. I don't know if I'm going to start over. So here's the thing. The syntax of this is actually like waves, because I'm finding myself, it's very uneven, and I'm catching the waves. I don't know if you can see, there are a shitload of M dashes here. So it's like a wave crashing against the shore almost. So from a technical standpoint, I understand what the poet's doing linguistically. I don't know what the fuck this means though. I'll be honest with you. So I'm going to start over. Deep water troweling. The blades like irises turning very fast to see you completely. Steel blue, then red where the cut occurs, the cut of you. They don't want to know you. They want to own you. No, not own. We all mean to live to the end. Am I human? We don't know that. Just because I have this way of transmitting. Call it voice, a threat. Communal actually, the pelagic midwater nets like walls closing around us, starting in the far distance, where they just look to us like distance coming closer. Hear it, eliminating background is all foreground, you in it, the only ground, not even punishment, troweling nets by catch, poison ghost fishing, the coil of the listening along the very bottom. The nets weighed down with ballast, raking the bottom, looking for nothing, indiscriminate. There is nothing in particular you want. You just want. You just want to close the third dimension, to get something which is all, becomes all, once you are indiscriminate. Discards can reach 90% of the catch. Am I the habit, crushed and flattened, net of your listening and my speaking? We can no longer tell them apart. The atmosphere between us, turbid, no place to hide, no place to rest. You need to rest. There is nature. It is the rest. What is not hunting is illustration. not regulated, are you? Probing down to my greatest depths, 2,000 meters and more, despite complete darkness that surrounds me, despite my being in my place, under strong pressure, along with all my hundreds of species, detritus in extreme conditions, deep water fish grow very slowly, have long life expectancy, late reproductive age, are particularly thus vulnerable. It comes along the floor over the underwater mountains, scraping the steep slopes, what is bycatch, hitting the wrong target, the wrong size, not eaten, for which there is no market, banned, endangered, such as birds, sometimes just too much. No more space on the boat, millions of tons thrown back dead or wounded, the scars on the seabed, the mouth the size of a football field. And if there is no one, there is still ghost fishing, nets abandoned in the sea. They continue through the centuries to catch. Mammals fish, shellfish, we die of exhaustion or suffocation. The synthetic materials last forever. Ask us anything. How deep is the sea? You couldn't go down there. Pressure would crush you. Light disappears at 6,000 feet. Ask another question. Can you hear me? No. Who are you? I am. Did you ever kill a fish? I was once, but now I am human. I have imagination. I want to love. I have self-interest. Things are not me. Do you have another question? I am haunted by, but by what? Human supremacy? The work of annihilation. Oh, that was a Freudian slip. Human supremacy, the work of humiliation, the pungency of pesticide. What else? The hammer that comes down on the head, knocks the eyes out. I was very lucky. The end of the world had already occurred. How long ago was that? I don't know. It is not a function of knowledge. It is, in a special sense, that the world ends. You have to keep living. You have to make it, not become waiting. Nothing is disturbingly visible. Only the outside continues, but it continues. So you have to find the way to make the inside continue. Your entity is fragile. You are the object you own. I like that. You are the object you own. At least you were given it to own. You have to figure out what ownership is. You thought you knew. You were wrong. It was wrong. There was wrongness in the mix. It turns out you are a first impression. Years go by. Imagine that. And there is still a speaker. There will always be a speaker. In the hypoxic zones is almost no more oxygen. Then there is no more oxygen for real. Pictures that says the speaker. Who are you? Where are you? Going down into the dead zones. Water, not water. The deeper you go, he says, the scarier it gets. Because there's nothing there. There are no fish, no organisms alive, no life. So it's just us, dead zones, bigger than the Sahara, he says. The largest lifeless spaces this side of the moon, he says. She says, who is this speaking to me? I am the upwelling. I am the disappearing. Hold on just a minute. Please, hold on. There is a call for you. Yeah, this is a tough one, dude. If I was teaching this, yeah, we could spend a couple of, we would spend a couple of days on this. All right, so, I don't know. Somebody smarter than me can definitely figure this out. I think the speaker in the poem is inhabiting like the space of like a lobster or a shrimp almost, and is creating a parallel between the existential threat of shellfish and the human existential threat, which is in both instances is our fault. And structurally, the way they do their stanzas and line breaks is quite complicated. Like, you're not going to be able to see it, but at the end here, oh yeah, you can't see that at all. But rather than M dashes as that fat stanza on the top, there are arrows. So the arrows were kind of prompting me to read it differently. Oh yikes, this is a hard one. But I do it to myself every time because I never check the poems before I get on. Excuse me. Because I want this broadcast that I'm doing, I want it to be prepared, but I don't want it to be performative. So I don't want to try to force or crowbar something. So I was like, I know I'm going to incorporate poems, but I'll just, take a look at it when I get on. Yeah. Now, it's worked, I think, generally pretty well, but if it goes severely left, I might have to start looking at them before I log on here. Okay. Now, the second poem here is, again, by Rodrigo Toscano, and it's called Habilitas. Habilitas. One arm can be raised painlessly. The other arm cannot be raised painlessly. One foot beautifully articulates to all sides. The other foot is locked, causing a limp. One glute goes unnoticed throughout the day. The other glute is incessantly irritated. There's a million gnats hanging around here. Not all the gnats are in great shape. Some, more than others, are spry. Matter of fact, you could line them up one by one. An array of nano differences would emerge. We might call that a scale. Whatever. Primate that doesn't heal, that's the poem. That's the poem on a scale of spryness. It both can and cannot walk without a limp. But it moves through the gnat space, the ape space. It gears toward its own sun. That's the perception, at least. The minimally required deception to get the sun, not its own, but felt as its own. How not, and how not? Our collective sun, that perennialist phrase, uttered by limpers in life alongside gnats, agitated, swirling among swatting each other. The nerve endings of tendons are fueled by the sun, not by the stars or the moon. Well, maybe the moon. Maybe moving limbs are lunar tributes without our sunny consent. Maybe the gnats should calm the fuck down. Maybe the apes should dote on more practical manners, like four limbs wiggling efficiently enough, powered by hobbled hips, happily venerating the sun among gnats, curiously awaiting what moonlight might bring, what creature companions might emerge, what verse lines will reach out for reception, what painful or joyful range of motion might ensue among apes, gnats notwithstanding, the sun absurdly sunny, urging on. I don't know what that one's about either. Oh gosh. And I'm supposed to be teaching people. Oh. Ooh. All right. So this one here, one arm can be raised. I think it's about when you're inhabiting a partially disabled body, and the speaker is contemplating if that brings you closer to an animalistic sense of yourself, right? Like gnats and apes, or if it takes you out of it. And so here it says, matter of fact, you could line them up one by one. Or maybe just as a human views the mortality of lesser creatures in a particular way, there is like a god, an imagined god in the poem possibly, that is viewing the partially disabled human that way, as fragile, as damaged, but then they're all under the same collective sun. So it's all life that needs to be honored somehow. Yeah, these were cryptic shit. But good. It's nice to, I haven't really had the chance to write much in the last month, really not much at all. And so sharing someone else's words with you, it feels good to kind of, cleanse the palate a bit. Yeah. All right. So I hope people have been well. I've been stressed, as I've talked about many times here. At the moment, I travel very far to go to work, and I'm just tired. And so this is the part that's story time. So last, was it Tuesday or Wednesday, I got off the bus, and it was like 5 minutes to 11 p.m., right? So it was pitch black, and I couldn't really see anything. Oh, no, it wasn't that late. It was 9:15. And here's why I know it was 9:15. Because I got off the bus, and when I was walking back, there is a Mexican restaurant a little bit of ways from my apartment. So I was like, well, let me stop there on my way home, because, I don't know what I have in the fridge. I just wanted some tacos. Yeah, I think I was trying to officially make it a Taco Tuesday. Anyway, so I go in, they're like, oh no, sorry, grill's closed, even though we're going to be open for another 15 minutes. Womp womp. As I was leaving, and in the parking lot, there was a little patch of grass. And so I stepped in the grass thinking I was going to be able to cross the street. I stepped down into the grass, and there was a rock, and I fell. Here's the thing. Anyone that knows me knows that I am not coordinated by any shape or fashion, like ever. And I fall all the time. But usually what happens is I fall and I hop back up. So it's fine. No. Not last week, my friends. That is not what happened. I fell so hard, I cracked this phone. This phone is cracked now. Have I ever cracked an iPhone? No, never. I cracked the phone. It flung across the parking lot. That shit knocked the sonic rings out of my ass. I was done for. And when I got up, I went, whoo. And I slowly limped to my apartment. And I realized I had my first official middle-aged fall. That was not a joke, because I'm still a little like Hop Along Cassidy over here. So I'm bringing this up because, I've just had such a, pardon me. My nose is itching. I've had just such a interesting, for lack of a better word, relationship with my body. I've mostly lived up here, and so, it's only, I would say, in the last 10 years, I feel prouder of my body, feel like I have a better relationship to it, feel like I'm generally nicer to it. And I've realized, I'm like, okay, I've really, with the carpets. I've realized I've got to get in shape, right? Because being in shape wouldn't have kept me from falling. I mean, I'm still clumsy, but it's just the kind of soreness and the stiffness. It doesn't really hurt. It's just like stiff. And so ever since I fell last week, I've been very stiff. And I'm like, oh no, this doesn't do. Especially since like, my schedule is so intensive. Like I need to travel between 3 different states. Like I need to now, on Thursday, I was trying to catch the shuttle from 42nd Street on the west side, no, on the east side to the west side or whatever, as I transferred over. And the clock said 1 minute and the conductor was about to close the doors. I sprinted and I ran and I made it on the train. So it's not like I'm moving like I'm 70 or 80, but there are just consequences afterward, right? Because like I said, I'm super tired and stiff, and I'm like, ha. So ever since like I fell, I'm stretching every day. I'm walking more, and I need to start like weight training and stuff again, because that shit was not cute. It's just, I've never really, I'd have to think very hard. There are times when, like one time I fell and I rolled down a hill when I was in college. But that, again, that didn't hurt, because it was just kind of like, I just, and then I just popped back up. But this time, like I said, I was like, ooh. And, I have to rely on this skin suit to do what it is that I need to do. And that was a moment of really feeling physically a little more fragile. I think like the worst episode of that was like back in 2019 when I was doing, and I might have told the story before, but in 2019 I was trying to do CrossFit, and then I don't know, I think I pulled something and didn't know it, and then I had come from the gym and I had sat down on my couch and I'm like, oh, my back hurts a little bit, took Advil, and then the next morning I could not walk. I had to go to the emergency room, and I had sciatica, and then ended up having to do physical therapy for like 3 months. So that whole time, my right side, I had a cane. And I've been blessed to really be able-bodied, and like the calculations you have to do in your head when you're on a boarding school campus that is not accessible by any means, shape or means, and they're still putting you on dorm duty and having you sleep on mattresses on the ground, and your whole fucking right side of your body doesn't work. That's a humbling experience, and it just it really affected me emotionally and psychologically. Like, like I said, I haven't always been proud of the skin suit that I'm in, but it's worked for me. And so all of that being said, take care of your skin suit. Stretch, drink water, use collagen, do yoga. You take care of your body, because they are fragile, and there could be one fall in between you and some nasty business. Because I had thought that I twisted my ankle, and I was just praying that it didn't swell, because I can't afford to take days off of work. And I'm like, okay, I just gotta hobble home and then hobble back to work. And so I was able to do that, but just, again, I would like to age gracefully. So I'm just aware that I have to put in more effort into making that happen. And so I'm avoiding grass patches when it's dark now. I'm walking slower. I'm tying my shoelaces extra, so hopefully that contributes to me not falling. But I just wanted to share that. The other thing is that I started this experiment last night where, I was in two writing groups, and so one of them, we were just giving personal updates, and I was just talking about how disconnected that I feel from people, and I've probably mentioned it here as well. But it just feels like over the past 5 years that, don't get me wrong, like the core, like 5 or 6 people that I stay in touch with, I still stay in touch with, but it's like everyone else is gone and it's disappeared. So, last night I did a post and I was just kind of like, hey, if you'd like a call from me before the end of the year, let me know. I feel like I have to reset. I don't know anyone anymore. And I want to report that so far, like about 10 or 11 people have reached out to me, and, about 9 of them do want to call. So that's amazing. And, a couple of people thanked me for being vulnerable, which I don't know, when I posted it felt like slightly vulnerable, but the way people responded to it was a lot heavier than I expected. But, one person, I was a little taken aback by their response, because they were basically like, well, is this necessary? Can't you just call people? And it kind of hurt my feelings. But I think I responded and said, the truth, which is, listen, like, if I haven't spoken to you in 5 years and I call you and you don't pick up for whatever reason, I'm a little fragile right now. I might feel a way about it, And so, the person actually apologized. So I felt like that was a great moment of growth for both of us, right? Because I didn't respond and I wasn't like, wilding out. And the person was like, you know what? I want to reconsider what I said to you. My bad. And then we kept it moving. I was like, holy shit. Adulting is working in some instances. It's not working financially, but adulting, like, emotionally, being emotionally mature is working, because it's just like I just took a quieter approach, because, like, part of me was like, well, if I shouldn't be posting about this, why are you on Facebook every goddamn day? And I was just like, okay, no, Deanne, don't do that, because then why would anybody want to call from you if you're acting like a Tasmanian devil on the internet, even though your feelings are a little bit hurt. But I was just like, you know what? And I had said to myself, there's maybe something up with him. This isn't about me. I'm not going to make it about me. And that's pretty much what he said. So I was like, I'm glad we're both on the same page about that. I just want to get my friends back. And so if I have to use social media to do that, guess what? I will. Because, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, Community feeds, connection feeds, and I'm hungry. So I had to say something. And so far I'm glad I did. So as I start calling people, I might make one call tonight, but I think tomorrow I'll make a couple of calls and, just start investing. What's cool is too, out of the 9 folks, I would say 3 of them I'm actually going to meet in person. So we don't even have to do a call. I'm actually going to go have coffee. I'm going to go see people and have a dinner and go to somebody's birthday party. So now I'm going to get out of the house, which is, I really need to get out of the house. It's just, there's been a lot of time me kind of spinning my wheels in my head. So I'm glad to move past that. Now, I am looking for a couple of articles that I wanted to juxtapose here. Now, to be fair, me and my short attention span and woeful lack of time. No, not a lack of time necessarily. I can read on the commute. it's just commuting is so damn loud. People are on their speaker phones and they're just playing just music. Nobody's using AirPods. People just want you to hear whatever the freak they have happening on their phones. And it's just like, for me, I don't know, reading is a meditative experience, and it just disturbs it for me. And the thing is, I did bring a book with me last week, and I did crack it open, and then two guys behind me started having an argument on the bus, and I was like, I can't. So I'll give it another shot. Sorry, you don't need to be in my face that much. I'll give it another shot, but Jesus, like, people are just living out loud in ways that are unnecessary. But the articles, and I think I might have mentioned this way back last episode. Here's two articles, one from Zadie Smith and one from Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I was just curious as to, given where both writers are in their career and their public personas, how the public reacted to their opinions and their thoughts here. Let's see. And the funny thing is I have this stuff pulled up on my phone, but I don't have it pulled up on the iPad yet. Hold on a sec. Sorry, I'm going to get this together here. Hold on just a moment. Okay, sorry, I paused it because I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right thing, so I had to check my phone. Yeah, I think it was in the New York Times. And the only reason that I'm aware of either article is, again, just people, responding online, because I tend to really follow writers, historians, librarians, blah, blah, blah. I've got a nerdy feed, right? So when, cultural ruminations come out, they tend to, examine them. Yes. And another reason that I wanted to juxtapose these articles, honestly, is because they're two, black literary intellectuals, who are given, a modicum of standing and credibility, and they're both writing about Gaza and the situation in the Middle East. And, I'm fully aware of what a minefield that can be, for a black public intellectual, and then especially in light of Alice Walker's writing and activism around this issue. Now, to be fair, it was, I want to say about, 5 years ago? It might even be maybe up to 7 years ago. She had written a longer piece that was, I think wholesale maligned. I think she was low-key canceled for it. But I never read it because, at the time, I was just kind of like, I didn't even want to engage in a thought experiment on that topic because, again, as a black person, that's like a third rail issue because you're never going to be on the right side of it, period. But now these two folks who, they're not my contemporaries because I haven't published anything, but just like age-wise, they are to a certain extent. And so I was curious to see what they thought. And it just seems that her piece, I remember very distinctly a woman in my feed saying very loudly, "Oh, Zadie Smith is irrelevant and out of touch." And then Ta-Nehisi Coates, people are like, oh yeah, he gets it, and this is really brave. And so I'm like, interesting. So what I want to do in the next few minutes, I just want to do what's called a think aloud, which I do with my students. It gives you an opportunity to preview a novel, a story, a poem, an article. So I want to do a think aloud maybe on the first couple of paragraphs of each, and then post the links. And then I'll finish reading them and then come back and we can, have a discussion, because I'm just interested to see, is it because they actually have, views that are quote unquote good or bad, or is it more to do with the identity of the writer? Okay. Okay, so Zadie Smith's piece was in the New Yorker. Now let's see if I'm behind the paywall here. Okay, yes, and this was from May. Okay, so her piece was May, and then we'll see the date on the Ta-Nehisi Coates piece. All right, and it's called Shibboleth. So like I said, I will post the link here. Definitely, if you're like me and can't afford a New Yorker or New York Times subscription at the moment, become a teacher so you can get one through your school. No, don't become a teacher. Go to the public library and hopefully they'll give you access there. This is a mess. Sorry for the lags and that I don't have my stuff put together, but I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, because he has a book called The Message, but then he did an article for The Atlantic, or it's an excerpt from the book. And again, I'll post this stuff. And then I have other stuff that I'll post, which I'll take a second to plug the YouTube page. Because I think I keep the YouTube page for this show really organized. I just don't like broadcasting from YouTube. Number one, because I don't think I am eligible. The 2 times I tried to live stream there, they wouldn't let me. And then on top of that, it's just easier to hop on here because I'm just not really tech savvy. And the videos take a long time to upload on YouTube. But the archives are sound and I keep them organized. And then on the community page, I do a community post for each episode with links. So I'm an English teacher. I'm not a historian or a sociologist or anything like that. But I do know how to do research and I know how to read. And so I try to keep that organized. So any conversations that we have are based in a certain level of fact and not just reality. I mean, I think though the world that we live in with the Bill Maher's and the Joe Rogans and everything, it's become very commonplace, and it's not just them, like Candace Owens and a bunch of other people that just talk out of their ass with, either fake facts or without any substantial information beyond anecdotes. And at a certain point you need to do the work, whether it's the experiments, the research, the documentation. You need to do the work to see how an idea or how a concept plays out in reality. So that's just my 2 cents. See, now this is making me want to pull up my Twitter because I bookmarked his on my Twitter. Or was it New York Magazine? This is taking way too long. My apologies, folks. I'm hoping, again, as a thought experiment, this will bear fruit for us. I'm not going to do any kind of current event update today. I mean, just everything is a shit show. The election is a shit show. I realized, because I had to go to the post office yesterday and do a change of address in person, which I've never had to do before. And then I was reading a piece of paper and it was like, oh, you could request a mail-in ballot and actually start voting. So I think I might just vote early to get this shit over with so I don't have to keep thinking about it. I don't know where this other piece is. Damn it. And then, I worry, is it that, it's a pressing issue because it could potentially lead to World War III, but then I wonder, that's my dog, is this just a bandwagon thing? In the sense of, Zena, who are you barking at, sweetie? There's nobody there. Oh, what's the matter, sweets? Sorry. The dog. You wanna go in the house? Here, go inside. Oh. Okay. I don't know what she wants. She wants something. Yeah, I can't find it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'll actually I'll find it. Like I said, I bookmarked it on Twitter. I'll find that on Twitter. I'm still going to post both of the articles, and then I'll give you a homework assignment. Why don't you go ahead and read them, and then we'll talk about them next episode, which, let's see, today is Thursday, so tomorrow's Friday. Will I do an episode tomorrow? Yeah, I'll come back on tomorrow evening. But it'll be tomorrow evening at, could I do 5? Nah, tomorrow evening probably like 8, because I have my writing group tomorrow. So if we meet from like 6 to 7:30ish, then I'll come on at 8. So I will post those articles for folks to read. Apologies. And then I'd love to talk about them tomorrow, because again, I'm just wondering, is other stuff factoring in here in terms of why he's seen one way and she's seen another? Factors beyond their actual opinions. And it's funny because, another few people that I follow, I wasn't expecting them to call Roxanne Gay out. They were like, she's usually pretty much out front on a lot of these social issues, and she's been dead ass silent for a long time now. Now, I don't follow her, so I don't know if that's true, but the people that I was 3 women that were coming after her, I want to say about 6 weeks ago, and they were like, where is she? Interesting that she doesn't have anything to say about this. And I mean, I think that that's the danger of politics when you're an artist, which, and then the iPad just died. So that is another reason why we will not be looking at those articles. I mean, I think that's a danger of being an artist that cares about the world around you. You know, it's like, because if you say something, right, people might love your books or your music or whatever, but then you say something, it's like, whoa, so-and-so's getting political now. But everything's political. Even when you're choosing not to be political, you are political. Like, you know, Hemingway, political. Cheever, political. David Foster Wallace, political. You know, it's funny because they inhabit the default identities. So it's like, if they're not talking about something political per se in their work, it's like, oh, you know, it's not, they're not political. They just write about the human experience. It's like, the avoidance, the ways in the ways in which you allied these issues speaks volumes. And, you know, so that's why for me, like, I write about what comes to me. I'm not trying to, you know, avoid race or focus on race, or avoid politics, focus on politics, avoid gender, focus on gender. I just write about what comes up, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to sanitize the stories that I want to tell, like, why the hell would anybody want to read it? You know, you can get the media ready package of ideas and universes wherever you want, but it's the idiosyncratic, it's the complicated, it's the messy, it is the political, the nuanced ideas. That's what people, at least I hope that's what people want to engage with, and, you know, that's what I hope to provide. So I'll, like I said, after this, I'm gonna hop off in a couple of minutes. I'll post that for you. So hopefully we can draw up some people who are interested in talking about this in a human way, not a geopolitical way, because geopolitically, I don't know what the fuck should be happening there. You know, I know I don't want people dying. I know I don't want bombs flying. But beyond that, I am, you know, again, more intelligent people who are educated on that issue can and should handle it. And then, you know, there are also take this opportunity to uplift the people that are suffering and being slaughtered in the Congo and Sudan, because that's just, you have to, like, dig for coverage about that. It's a crying shame that there are different people experiencing the same atrocity, but one's uplifted and one is not. Now, I will say I am not in the position to, like, hop on a plane and do relief aid. Hold on. So I'm not, like I said, in a position to give, you know, relief aid or anything like that. I'm not in the position to donate money, but, you know, I have my little cracked iPhone here, and I have a voice, and I can post links. So I'm willing to do that. You know, especially as somebody that works with young people, anytime I see them suffering or being taken advantage of, or harmed in any way, it really, really hurts. Yeah. So the last thing that I'll say is, and this is a weird thing, so I guess The Simpsons posted a fake finale episode, and they said it had something to do with October 10th. And you know, I'm aware, like, from a numerological standpoint, October 10th, next week. So it's 10102024, right? So October 10th, 2024, which, if you add it all up, it boils down to 10. So then people were like, that's when the reset is gonna happen. That's when the reset is gonna happen. But I'm like, do you mean a financial reset? Do you mean an imperial reset? A colonialist reset? Like, what are they talking about? The second coming? Like, what is supposed to be reset? And it's not necessarily because something's actually going to happen, but I'm nosy. And so if there's a conspiracy, like, I want to actually understand what the conspiracy is referring to. So if you know anything about the October 10th conspiracy, I think I can really use that for a story. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I am going to be doing some writing tomorrow. So again, if you know anything about the October 10th, 2024 conspiracy, my DMs are open. I would love to go to a link, as long as it's not like 4chan or something. I would love to go to a link and just read more, because I'm curious and nosy, and I will be writing tomorrow. I'm going to be writing for at least 4 or 5 hours tomorrow. I'm so excited. But anywho, I'm going to close this out, and then we'll pick up with the Zadie Smith and Ta-Nehisi Coates articles tomorrow. That is your homework, all right? And I'm still Deanne Battle. This is still The Composite, and this has been season 4, episode 18. Take care.